Alrighty, we are live. Hello, hello, hello. Incredible greetings. Incredible greetings, everyone. All right, so let's get this one. This one is a little delayed with going live, but that's okay. All right, so there we go. We're live there and we're live over here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Woohoo! Excuse me. All right, let's go ahead and just get this all shared out over on the book of the face.
Cater integrates seamless.
All right, I'm just getting this all shared out, so just bear with me one moment and we're going to get started. All right. How are you guys doing? As you come in, drop a hey, how you doing? Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if you have attempted the pop out trend, design trend yet. Okay. Okay. Uh-oh. 1 second, y'all. My phone's acting crazy. All right, let me get this shared. All right, all shared out. Okay, so I'm going to hop right into this. Hello, Vanessa. How art thou? Angela, hello. Welcome in. Happy first. It's been a while. Hope all is good. Glad to catch this trend video. I need to see how it's done. So we're not going to technically go over how this is done. I'm going to break down some of the effects because I've seen quite a few people, doing this in various programs. So of course, I have Silhouette Studio open. That's my program of choice. But there are times where I will use Photoshop because you can do like embossing and things like you can do a little bit more. And when it comes to erasing it and like creating the actual pop out effect, it is a little bit easier. You have to know like the proper setup. The setup is about the same for all of them, like in general, like what it is that you're going to do. Photoshop, as far as erasing those areas, is a little bit of like the easiest. I get many will say that, but they still find Photoshop to have a steeper learning curve. Silhouette Studio, I personally think it's really, really easy, but you have to not consider edit points to be the boogeyman. But the Silhouette version is actually really, really easy. Like it's a 1-2. I promise you, it's a 1-2 with Silhouette Studio as well. But you have to not consider edit points. Even in the simplest form of moving them, you can't look at them like they are the boogeyman. So that's the kind of some of the things that I'm going to just kind of go over. I'm just going to just talk you through like just a couple different ways that this effect can effectively be done. Okay. So stick around for that. All right, my name is Shakia. Though I'm also known as Shakia the Professor. I've actually started adding the creative professor so that you guys know what it is that I do. Those who just kind of know me and, you're not new here, you guys would just say, you guys just call me the professor. I am finding that when I'm in other spaces, I just say like, I'm known as Shakira the professor. One, it could strike up like questions and conversation, but also like they just don't understand like what does I teach. So I kind of put that in there to kind of sort of give them an idea. So you'll probably hear me say often, I am Shakia, the creative professor. It's going to be a little weird and kind of, got to get used to that. But I help creatives. I help, IE crafters, DIMers. That's the coin that, like, that's a term that I coined and I use because we'll always say, if you don't want to pay someone, I'm going to do it myself. So I always say the DIMers, the do it myselfers. So I help that community of people who want to, exercise their creative juices and like, really work that part of their brain and how to, do from simple, basic designs and just learning a program, like how the tools and functions work, all the way to like creating some really, really intricate, very detailed designs. We help with understanding how to make the customized items, whether it's t-shirts, if it's a card, if it's an invitation, if it's a tag, something with sublimation, what is it? Eco solvent. I have over 2 decades, so almost 3. I'm at 26 years of experience with everything from screen printing to doing print on the dye-based printer for a coloring book, right? And then, of course, on the business side, we have classes that we are able to help you build out your website if that's what you desire. We've gone through, like, if you're not quite at the website phase, how can you still present yourself professionally and start setting up your systems now versus waiting until later and waiting until you have this full-on business, because it's a lot harder to slow down to set up systems. So I introduce things to those who are in my creative business program. And you can be one of those as well on how to start creating systems with where you are now that that can eventually evolve with you. But that's just a little bit of who I am and who you're listening to right now and why you should maybe stick around and kind of listen to what, she has to say. All right. As you guys come in, please, please, please drop a hey, how you doing? So just a quick hello. I know some of you guys are at work. It is 1:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So some of you guys might be at work, but if you can kind of go and hold and just kind of hit, just say hey, just so that I know you hear. It also helps the algorithm and helps push it out, because this is going to be a really, really important video. If you're not able to comment right now, if you can just go ahead, when you watch the replay of it, go ahead, leave a comment, share it out. I will greatly appreciate it. I'm always, trying to do so much to be able to help you guys and educate you guys on these platforms, outside of our academy classes. So your support, that means a lot when you guys are, just helping us push our content out. Okay. So let's go ahead and kind of jump into this. I'm from Miami, and it was just so crazy that someone, hey, Aquisha, how are you? Someone asked about, not about to say baseball. Someone asked about basketball, and I was actually already working on the basketball. And so I've done, let me see if I can pull up this post, because I don't want to try and open up all of the silhouette files, but I'm going to try and find the Facebook post that I did for a couple of these. Okay, so let me bring this over into the screen. Let me click on my name and we're going to scroll down. Okay, so I had been posting about this for a couple of days now. This is one where it doesn't even have someone's picture to it, right? It is just clip art. This technique is not exclusive to doing it with pictures or doing it with sports. I've been doing this for this one I was setting up for a Sesame Street party, and we were doing like, the alphabets. You know how Sesame Street, like, this episode is brought to you by the letter da da da. So it was kind of like that feel, because I am my primary thing, like with getting into all this, was for event planning. I was an event planner, so I would decorate things. I haven't done that full time in a while, but this was for a Sesame Street event years ago, pre-pandemic. Like, this was years ago, and I was able to kind of create, that look with Abby and Oscar. And I have some with all the other characters, which is why they are in the tracing for my Essential Silhouette Studio, right? But you can do it with anything. So you can see here where she's in an A because of her name was Abby Kadabi. But then when she's in the 4, she's going in a different, her hand is on top, but her wing is kind of clipped off. Where here you can see the wing, her arm is outside of the 4, but the wand is clipped off. Like there's so many different ways that this can be done. Like, it can be accomplished. You can see, so with Oscar, he more so sits in front. What really gives it, like, I guess you would say like the pop out, excuse me, his trash can is cut off. I made the sign kind of sort of like hang over the O just a little bit. And his arm is kind of going behind the O. So it's like if he's like right next to it, he kind of put his arm. So it's all optical illusions, right? So I did that. I showed that one. I showed, let me go back. Let me see. Okay, so I showed this. This was from a birthday shirt that I did. And it's just a simple one, right? Like it's just from Shark Boy, his arm coming out of that 5, like just that one part coming out of it. That is essentially a pop out. Like, well, you guys are coining it like pop out effect. So that's one way of doing it. I don't know. Okay, that's where we are now. Then I showed this one, which is done in Photoshop. So you can see where Photoshop gives you a little bit more versatility, being able to do embossing and, like putting the emboss on the strokes, and you'll be able to do all types of different effects in Photoshop because they have different layer styles and all sorts of things. And it can make it a little bit easier to flip between like having it solid versus having an image behind it. Just a lot more versatility when you're doing it in Photoshop because you're able to create those effects, right in Photoshop. Okay. So we did that version. And, in Photoshop, you're going to see in Silhouette Studio, you can do all of the, like, what I forgot how many I have on there. It's like 30, I have a bunch of versions you can see in Silhouette Studio because this could have easily been done to where his body was fully shown here. So it's like almost like running through the 3, his chest would have been there. And the idea would the concept would be more so like just this leg hasn't come all the way through yet. So we could have had his chest and you still would have known that it was a 3, right? And like the number 13 and the number 13 on the jersey would also be visible. This also is not an actual NFL player. This is AI generated through ChatGPT. I know y'all don't really see me do AI generation, but your girl nice with it. Like I'm just not kind of like how you guys use it. I like it sometimes for teaching purposes, like something real quick. But yeah, I still do AI. Look, he looks like he came off the field. I know because it's how I did the prompt. I'm gonna talk about that in my class too. So I end up making this one, and then I did. Let me see if it's gonna come up. So this is also silhouette. Oh, boom! Actually, look there. Told y'all I be doing them all the different ways. So if I open that up, I do have that one. So like with this one, it's like, man, I wish I actually had this one open. This version, if you can see, his foot is behind, like, or going, it's cut off at the yellow, right? So it's like it's going into the white. You can see his chest is full on like out, and it's like he's just running in front of it. This is the same pose where you can see the chest. And I told you, you can still tell that it's a 3. The thing with this one is it would be kind of weird, I guess you would say a little bit, because the leg is like his thigh is behind the purple and it's splitting the like the white and the yellow, but then the foot is coming right to the purple. So it's almost like you'll see on the D Wade one where it's more so just sitting in front of it. And we just kind of cut off one little part. And it's really just sitting in front. That's not a pop out effect when you create depth and you put a number or a letter or text or whatever it is behind a focal subject. That's not pop out. You're just creating dimension and depth and just adding more to the design. And that's what I try to teach. There's a bunch of videos out there. There's a lot of quick tutorials. I mean, I've watched some of them. There's some great techniques, some techniques I'm like, look, I know you wanted to just get on this and you wanted the content, but baby girl, because I'm being honest, it's a lot of women. And it's like, you didn't even perfect this. It's like you're bumbling through it and it's all over the place. You did way too many steps. You're going to have people feeling like this technique takes forever and a day because you're doing way too many steps. Okay. But there are tutorials and things out there. My job for me, I want to educate you on how to properly do it, no matter what the image is, no matter what the background piece is that you're quote unquote popping out, whether it's text or numbers or shapes or whatever it is, right? So it's just giving you that design education is what our classes, is what our platforms are about, not just quick tutorials, okay? So I showed that one. And then this is one that I did in 2023 for MJ, because, I'm not gonna say we're house divided because he is a Dolphins fan, but he played football for a team here when he was 5 that was called the Chiefs. And then he just, of course, just loved the Chiefs because it was his team when he was playing football. And of course, Cheetah was on that team during that time. But as you can see, 2023, and I was doing this. So I wanted to show that this is not a new trend. It's not something that's new. This is a very old technique in the graphic design. Like, we use that to create depth all the time and don't necessarily call it like a pop out. That's a coin that's more craft group kind of related, and it makes it easier to understand it. And that term is what's making it viral and making it popular, because it's easier for, like those in the craft community to digest what it is. So a lot of the times you'll find that graphic designers will call something like based off of the technique that we're doing. And crafters will basically call it like what it visually, like what it's doing, right? So you can see here where it clearly shows him like kind of coming out of this V, reaching for the top of the Lombardi Trophy. Over here, he's coming out of like the side. Same thing here, where it's like the edge of it and coming out, his arm is here. And then this one's like on the other side. There were a lot of people that were asking about, it being difficult to do this effect with things like a number 1, because it's just a solid line. Now, of course, you do want it to be as wide as possible. But you can create the effect and you're literally just cutting off a small piece. It doesn't have to be where the part that's hidden, you're covering half of it. Even if it's just an arm that's kind of hidden and that's masked away, and it's just a little bit of it that's popping out, that's fine. It still will give it that effect, especially when you add shadows to it. Am I making sense so far? Want to make sure that you guys are understanding me and I am making sense. I'm not talking too fast. So I'll take a little breather here and just make sure that we're on the same page. You're understanding me. I'm not talking too fast. So just let me know. Okay, I got it. Oh, there's a little bit of a delay. All right, so I got it. Yes, I got it. Okay. Yes, you're understanding. All right, cool. And just hello, Sonia, Lisa, Jackie, how art thou? Crystal, and officially hello, Labrisha. Marina says she understands. Vanessa says it's making sense. So all right, cool beans. Thanks for listening while you're at work and commenting. And let's see. Oh, and then here is the one that I did over in Canva. All of these, really any design program, you can accomplish this. If you are someone where you use Affinity, I personally don't use Affinity. I do have it. I don't use it. Now, my girl Gucci, she uses Affinity. I don't know if she plans to do a class or anything on it, but she uses Affinity if you're trying to, learn within that software. Technically, if you are someone that wants to use Photopea is absolutely free to use. If you follow my Photoshop tutorial, you'll be able to accomplish it in Photopea because it's going to be the exact same steps, because Photopea is a web web-based heavy in ads like version of Photoshop. One thing about Photopea though is it has the best of both worlds between Photoshop and like a vector-based program, because it's great for making frames for Canva. That's a story for another day. But Photopea, if you haven't used that one, photo and then like PPEA, that's a great one to look into. It's just web-based, okay? But Canva can do it. Canva to me is, I really don't want to say difficult, right? Really, any of these programs, if you don't know how to use them, the technique is going to seem difficult. Like, let's be honest. To me, they're very simple steps, but I've also been working in these programs, and I've been working graphic designing for nearly 30 years. So it's different for me. I'm able to adapt and like figure things out. Now, the way that I teach it in Canva, I promise you, it makes it the easiest way to understand, as long as it can actually, like, what you're trying to do works within the letters or numbers or shapes that you are using. The issue that I'm seeing with a lot of the creatives and crafters who are using Canva is when it's straight lines and things like that, it's easy, right? When you have the areas that are curved and it's almost like they're trying to create this intertwined look, it's a little bit harder to get that effect and have it be completely accurate, right? Because you cannot create a selection. Like in Photoshop, you are able to use your wand, or you're able to use like control click. There's different things that you can do, and you get what we call marching ants, like those little lines that's going around, like that's your selection. You can customize that selection and determine and decide which areas you want to cut away, right? You are brushing it away. You are masking it away. You can bring that back. Like, you have full control over where these pieces pop out or they recess, things of that nature, right? Canva, not so much. All you can do is use the crop feature. When you click on, after you remove the background, you're going to use that crop feature, but it is square. So when you're trying to make this fit areas that kind of that dip in, dip down, it's curves to it, it's like a sharp cutoff, it's a corner, you end up having to have 30,000 copies of the remove background piece, because it's like, okay, I have to crop this one over here and I have to go right to the line. Then I have to do this part over here and go right here. And then I'm going to try and maybe use the background remover if you have Pro, and try and like move, like erase part of it. It can be a lot of steps depending on, if you're doing a single digit versus double digit, what font you're using. That part is really, really, important to this whole effect. What font are you using and where do you want it to pop out or intertwine at? But it is possible. So you can see here, I did the one, if you can't tell, I'm a true Miami girl. All the ones that I did was always like, utilizing someone from Miami. I did my original one for it. I end up doing Lamar on my first one that I did, because he's from Miami. So actually, no, that one, no. So I gotta find the one that I did. That I originally did, and I had Lamar Jackson. So yeah, so I did that one with the number 8. But we have Coco, because she's also from, South Florida. But anywho, That's that one. And I don't think, okay, so this is just where the class will be held at, which is in our creative lounge. But I wanted you guys to see that. So let's go back over here to Silhouette Studio so I can kind of break this down. All right. So I'll show you something real, and I'm gonna just duplicate this real quick because as more people come in, I'll do I like to call like a little hat trick so you can see. I want to show you how easy it is. Now, Photoshop and Canva both have background removers, right? So in the grand scheme of things, it's like, okay, well, they're going to be better programs to use because they have background removers included, right? I have Canva. I pay for pay for Canva Pro. I do have Photoshop, but I also have Remove BG, which, is remove background. And that allows me, so all of the ones that I did here, all of my examples, I removed the background in Remove BG. So if you're someone that's exclusively using Silhouette Studio, you can always, they have like credits and things like that for Remove BG if you want to use that. If you don't want to do all of the back and forth in Canva, you can just remove the background in Canva and then do the technique over in Silhouette Studio without having to do all of the, crop this piece, crop that piece, do this, do that. So you have options. I promise you have options. If you are someone that's like, I want one program to be like my super system and I only want to operate in this particular program, I recommend that you just go ahead and be content with being frustrated, because no one program will give you all of the design features that you need. Henceforth, why Adobe has 1,000,001 different design programs designed to do different things. Okay. If you could do it all in one of the biggest companies out there, like, when it comes to graphic designing, they would not have all of the different design options, like design program options that they do if it could all be done in one program. Okay. So don't be afraid to use multiple programs. As a professional and someone who has been doing this for a really, really long time, I go and I switch between different programs to get the results that I want all the time. Okay. So I'm going to do a little hat trick here and I'll repeat it again once I get to the end. We're going to click here, hold down Shift, click on the background. I need to bring up my modify and I'm going to crop, and then we're just going to grab here and we're going to crop. Boom. That was 2 steps. I did not have to move anything. I did not have to, crop. And like in Canva, I would have had to have the one in the background. I would have had to have, the one in the front where the background was removed. And I would have had to have 2 of those. One cropped up here to the top for the ball. And then, because there's this opening, I would have had to have another one here. Oh, I just realized this particular one, look, his finger's completely missing over here. That's one thing with background BG remover. I didn't realize it took the black part off of his like finger tape. So don't worry about that. But I also would have had to line it up. And this is where you can also see the imperfections in the Canva version, trying to line it up, especially if you're on a mobile device or you're like more so your phone than having a tablet. If you have like a stylus or an Apple Pencil, it's not as bad, but yeah. And then also with, what the heck was that? Also with the mobile version, when it comes to putting things inside of a frame. So you saw I was able to just crop that background to the 3. And I could have done that with any font I wanted to. That 3 could have literally been in any font, any shape. Whereas in Canva, it has to be, repeat after me, it has to be a frame. What does it have to be? Put it in the chat. It has to be and go ahead and fill in the blank. So once you have it like in that frame, if you're on the mobile version, you have to be very, very careful. Like you constantly have to lock areas to keep it from overtaking. That is aggravating. That is frustrating. Like that's a part of, when some people say, oh, it's so many steps, they're probably doing it from a mobile version, because when you have all these little pieces that you're trying to create, these pop outs and things of that nature, like if I wanted his leg to pop out, that would be a third copy of the removed background version of the image. So you would have to have 3 of those that you have to line up, right? Well, if you touch the frame, it overtakes the frame, right? In like when you're using a desktop or a laptop, like any type of like actual computer, you can hold down Control, Command on a Mac, the Windows key, and it will prevent it from taking over the frame while you place it. And then you can use like your arrow key after that. But that's a lot of like tap, 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 tap. On the mobile device, you have to go, you have to find position, get on that, and it takes forever. There is no holding down Shift and making it move over faster. On a mobile device, you got to, if you're using position and you want to just edge it over, like nudge it over, you have to use the nudge. It used to be called, and I was called something else, but I think it's called just position, and just tap, 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 and that takes forever. Can it be done in Canva? Yes. If that is your only option, your only design platform, you are someone that operates from a mobile device only, you don't have a laptop, you don't have a desktop, okay, use Canva. You can also, like I said, try it in Photopea also. So I get it if that's your only option. But if you have a computer, Canva's not going to be the best way, but it is a little bit easier. Also, when you want to select things to group them together in Canva, you have to click the little dots. You have to make sure that you're clicking on it. You're not moving it around, because you have to go to where it says select multiples. You have to click on that, then click out, like group it. It's team too much versus being able to like just hold down Shift and like click, click, click. It's a little bit different. These are the things that I am breaking down. When I'm teaching, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. And I know for some people, they don't like it, which is why I did some pre-recorded videos. I'm going to come to this real quick. So it's already on the lounge. If you come down here, so pop-up effect tutorials, the silhouette one will be uploaded in a little bit. It's actually probably done. It's just, I have to, hit like, okay. But, so I did the pop out effect for Photoshop, and it's broken down where it's just the steps for how to do that. No other explanation. It's like, okay, right now I just want to do this. I'll learn how to really, really design later. It's so hard for me. And I'm not lying. Like, so I'm gonna tell you now, whenever I have my classes, I break it down. I give a full explanation so that you understand what is you're about to do. Why do you have to do it this way? It's great for taking notes. Then we do what we call I do, we do, you do, where I'm going to go through it and then we go through it together. And if you have questions, you get stuck, you're able to share your screen. So inside of a live class, it is a longer, it's like, if you watch a tutorial, it's like, okay, they can probably get it done in like 5 minutes or so, right? Depending on how much details they're really giving. I've seen some people do it in a short and they've gotten it done in like 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, somewhere in there, right? Well, for a class, because we are fully doing it step by step, I'm also allowing like the videos for here. They are a little bit extended because I also like pause a little bit for you to not have to, so you don't have to pause so much and like with taking notes. So it's a little bit extended because it's a learning, it's a teaching, it's an instructional video. It's not like a tutorial. It's an instructional video. It's like a mini class. But I go through and show each part of it. I'm explaining why you have to do certain things and, things of that nature. Inside of the live Zoom, we're explaining it. I give you ample opportunities. Now, if you don't get your question answered, it's because you decided to sit in the background and not say anything. But you have ample opportunities to ask whatever question, big, small. If I went over it, you needed to clarify, you needed me to go over it again, you can ask anybody. I go back over it. If you're like, okay, I missed this part, we're going to go back over it. I'm even going to encourage you to share your screen so I can see exactly where you made, a hiccup or what step you forgot or you missed. And then we can go from there. And then that lives on the recording for as long as you have access to the program. And if it's a standalone class, you have access to that for forever and go back and watch it however many times you need to. Like, let's say you don't do this trend or this technique for 3 months and you need a refresher. When it's a regular class, you have access to that for forever to go back and rewatch it. But I just wanted to kind of, outline that for you when it comes to our classes. And right now, $25.63. The first payment is normally $43.65. But because of this trend, it is reduced to where that first payment is only $25.63 right now to enroll. And if you want, after 1 month, you're going to get access to everything that is here. So you can go crazy for a month if you want to end it after a month. Get what you need from the pop-up and then end it if you want to. But there's a lot of great information in there. And we're back now adding new content and having live classes and things of that nature. Okay. So let's go back over here. Now, each one of these is different. They look kind of similar, but each one is different. There's so many variations that you can do depending on the image that you're using. And there's going to be some where the only thing that you can do is almost like an effect like this. And there's going to be just a little bit his arm is extended out, but I've had clients send pictures to me to be able to do this and their body position is very, very tight. So it's going to be like their head is just the only thing that's kind of coming out of a number or shape or letter or whatever. You're not going to always have this dramatic pop out depending on the image that you are using. Okay. And also, if your image is wider or taller than how your letter is, you're going to have to be okay with losing a good amount of it because you're limited on space, right? So that's that. But each one of these are different. So, these two I should have put together. They're in pretty much the exact same position. The only difference is on this one, it's like just the top half is popping out and his leg or his foot is contained within the 3. Whereas over here, the upper half as well as the leg is coming out of that 3. In Canva, this would be 3 different copies that you would have to have. And for this one, it would be 2. Okay. So here it's kind of sort of like this, like the foot is hanging out, but his body position is also in front of the 3. So it's almost like because he's leaning back, right? His arm will go over the top. His leg is cut off in like inside of that 3. His body, his upper torso is it's pushed back. His chest is pushed back. So it's behind the 3, but the arm, the leg, it's coming out. Am I making sense? Let me know if I'm making sense in explaining these different effect layouts. Let me know if I'm making sense. Put a 3 in the chat if I'm making sense. All right. And then here, I just put a different background than just like the black, just that you can see like when you are putting it on some sort of design or whatever, right? So here we have the chest is behind, the hip is in front of the 3, the leg is out, the arm is out, and it's like literally coming from inside of the 3 and the arm is kept back. So we don't have that arm extension out. You do not have to have every limb popping out, okay? You do not have to have every limb popping out. And then here's one where we did not do the, okay, no, I'm sorry, I skipped over this one. So I've seen people kind of do this one, and I purposely changed the background of this because some have been doing it with the exact same background, and then it just looks like you just took a 3, like you just put an outline over it, like that's all that it looks like, and you maybe you faded out like the background. But with this one, I mean, it is, I guess you would say, some version of it, because you have inside the 3 where that's really bright and, you know, you can, it's full color. And then the background is a little bit more muted and softer. So maybe you're going to add words, and this all depends on what you're going to do with the final design. Is it going on a shirt? Is it going on a tumbler? Is it for invitation? Is it for something digital? Is it for a fan? Is it like, this is just one component. You got to create this, and then you have to add all the other things to it as well. So when we're doing our class, it's going to be on creating the pop-up. It's not necessarily on, you know, in those particular classes, making other designs with it, because I'm going to ask the room, you know, what would you use this for? How would you plan to use it? You know, once you saw it and it's like, oh my God, it's amazing. Did you think about how you're going to use it? Or are you going to make a tumbler, a mug, a shirt with it? You know, were you going to put it on a party cup? Were you going to put it on a cowbell if the kid is football, like playing football for high school? Like, how did you plan to use it? That determines your next steps, right? So this more so is like an outline, and there are ways to do this without doing a lot of like the quote unquote pop-up type effects, because this is still a pop out effect, because there is 2 versions of it. See, this is it contained, and then the removed background version of it is behind that. So that's how you get that look. So then with this one, I'm going to come over here, because there's a difference in these as well. This is more of like a pop out. Like it's almost like imagining that there was a floor underneath. It's like he's standing there and his body's just coming through the 3. So that is a pop out effect, right? Because it's coming out of the 3. The shadows really help with that visual as well. With this one, he's not popping out of anything. You just needed to cut off the bottom of, you know, like, okay, I don't need the legs to show. I just want the upper half. Well, in a program like Canva, on a number like this, I'm going to zoom in, where it is, you know, there's a straight line here and you're coming across here. If you go, like when you crop it and you bring it in and you crop it up to this bottom line, you're going to have this part right here, but this part of the leg will hang down like that. So I guess, I mean, this is like a really, really slight pop out, because it is, I guess you would say, popping out from the white part. I could have made this sit like this. So in Canva, it will sit like that, like it, unless it's on the bottom of something, like you're putting it at the edge of something, it just looks like their legs are cut off, right? Or you can have it be where it lines up with that corner. And so the whole bottom half is kind of contained within that. You just kind of have the top part. All right. So that's how that one is set up. And again, it's more so full body. Nothing is cut off by the 3. Whereas all the other ones, something is cut off by the 3, like the major parts of 3, not just the bottom. And then with this one, it was just positioning of it, and just doing like the extra layers and how that will look when you're adding more and more layers to it. That's just more so what this one was. And yeah, I think that's all. So kind of like this one, the hip is outside of the 3, and this one, all of the body is contained inside of the 3, except for the ball, the hand, and the foot. Okay. That would be the difference between like this and the other ones. And then this one, everything is contained except the ball and his hand. So there are different ways of setting this up. Do you guys have any questions for me? So I'm going to do it one more time. Like that's what I told you, kept it for a party trick. Oh, wait, did I move this? I did. Okay, so let me get this all lined up. All right, so that's like that. And again, Canva, you have to have a frame. Select Studio, you absolutely do not. Just going to click, and you're going to crop. And then the one that's removed, crop again. Now, there is something that is there to give it that effect. I had already set it up, so you won't see it fully, but you can join the class and see exactly what that technique is. But it's literally a 1-2. Once you have it positioned, it's a 1-2. Okay. Last call. Any questions? All right, so I have a question for you guys. Put a 6 in the chat if you are someone that saw this trend and you're like, oh, I want to try it. Maybe you haven't tried it just yet, right? Or if you tried it and you're like, okay, something's just not adding up, go ahead and let me know in the chat. You can just go ahead and put a 6 in the chat if you have been considering this to be a part of like this trend and maybe just trying it out. Even if you don't have orders, you just want to try out new techniques, put a 6 in the chat. Has this lesson been recorded already? Yes, it has, where it's like a full walkthrough straight through. So if you're wanting to like get started today, you want to be able to see the technique, it has been recorded. And that's one of the things that I'm starting to do with classes is I will pre-record a version of it that you can watch beforehand, because it might give you questions when you come to the actual class. Like if you tried it and you couldn't quite figure it out, right? So there is versions of this, and the silhouette version has been, now the silhouette version does not have all of those different ones, okay? It doesn't. I might go back in and do them. I just kind of did like a basic one. It's not even with the one for silhouette isn't even with D Wade. I actually used the Abby Kadabi one for the silhouette version to show like that technique. But they are already done, right? So the Photoshop one is there, like if you're a Photoshop user. The Canva one has been uploaded, and it's more so Canva from a desktop or a laptop. I'm going to attempt to do a screen record, but I got to do that from MJ's iPad, because I refuse to do it without an Apple Pencil. Like whenever I'm doing that type of stuff, I got to do it from his iPad and use the Apple Pencil, or I can use Evans with the Apple Pencil. But this is from the Canva one is from a desktop version, not a mobile device. Okay. But we are going to have live in Zoom sessions next week for each of the programs to go through and walk through it. You'll be able to ask questions. You'll be able to share your screen. You'll be able to do it in real time and get support if you get stuck. So there will be a live class component to this next week. But you can watch, if you are enrolled, you can literally watch the videos and get started right now. Any other questions? Thank you for that one. Good question. I'll show you just like, I'll wait for your questions, just some of the things that are in here. So we did a fix my design. We'll do pro calls like that, where it's about designing those who come to the session. It's like, okay, this is what I've kind of worked on. I'm not sure where I kind of made a mistake at. Like, help me out, give me some pointers, give me some tips. So we've done those type sessions. We did a custom football. So you'll see all of that there. This one is in the class, is just information like printer frequently asked questions, things like that. When I did some like Watch Me Works and Design With Me. So there's a few of those in there. Our January playbacks are here. So this was just our New Year check-in. We did, what was this? What was January's creative challenge? I don't remember. Ooh, I spelled alignment wrong. So, okay, we're going to do that. Well, that one's there. We did goal setting. So it's more than just crafty things. And this one was text effects to get the Cheeto style. I can probably try and find the video where I went through that. So it's like creating a text effect. Oh, if you join, what's this thing called? Creative Lounge, it includes Understanding Canva 101. It includes Understanding Canva 101. You wouldn't have to pay for that again. It's included. We did our design challenges for last year. We did them inside the design challenge. So you're going to see those. So we had like the breast cancer one. We had the cutest pumpkin, and it was oh so freaking cute. I forgot what this one was. This one was, adding the drill. Okay, I think I remember what that one was, but I can't remember. Like I can visualize it, but tonight, like explain to you guys what we did with that one. So you have like things that's going to help you in your business. So there's some low cost marketing strategies. So we went over that. This right here is really great. Are you ready for an e-commerce site? So before you jump into it, and I don't care even if it is a pay hip, are you ready for what that brings? So this was a really good session. The truths about DTF and understanding why maybe, your DTF prints aren't coming out that great. They're the wrong color. So that we had the, was it 12 ways to decorate garments? So we went through that, whether you're doing printable transfers, DTG, DTF, screen print transfers, sublimation. Day 2 of that was HTV, eco solvent, white toner transfers, rhinestones, embroidery. So you'll learn to make, it'll help you figure out what's going to be the best garment decorating method for whatever it is you're trying to do, and also how to explain that to your customers. We went through which design program best fits your needs. So going through the pros and cons and the benefits of Silhouette Studio, Illustrator, Photoshop, Canva, things of that nature. All about cutting machines. We kind of did a review between Etsy versus a standalone store. This was just a motivational one. The design challenges. And then there's some other playbacks in here that what am I missing at? Pro calls. So all of those playbacks are there. Okay. So there's quite a few pro calls on that. So you get all of that with your membership, and we're going to be adding more and more and more and more. My goal is, whether it's 200 people or 2 people, because if it was only 2, I definitely would shut it down. But I want to build this one up. So no matter who's coming, I'm putting the schedule out. We're going to do the lessons. I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm not a newbie to teaching. I know some of you guys are new to my platform. So you may want, like some freebie things first. That's what our YouTube channel is for. Our Facebook, platform is for. There's a lot of free content. I'm always in groups providing free value, answering questions, things of that nature. Just don't come into my inbox. We keep it in groups. We keep it on public forums. You get access to me, like that when you're in one of our communities. And I do like basically a community day, and it's like a free for all live. You can ask questions. We're doing them on Fridays, or part of Freebie Fridays for Posh Design Group. So, there are opportunities to be able to get help from me at no cost, but make sure that you are supporting and you're liking, you're sharing, you're showing some love. You can drop like $5 in the Cash App so I can go get me some Wawa's coffee. I love me a frappe. Cash App is HSINK365 if you ever want to do that. I love Wawa's. Okay, want to buy me lunch, buy me some Popeyes? It's cool. Drop a couple coins in there to say thank you. If you so desire, you got to spare. So what was I saying? I lost a whole train of thought because I want some Popeyes. But if you're new to me, you have to just check out all of the different things that we've done over the years on our social media. Anything that I am teaching, like teaching, it will be in one of my programs, one of our offerings. It will not be on social media anymore. Will I be doing any of especially things like this? They don't pay you enough. And I put too much work into this. So there will be a part of one of the academy programs. Okay. What day is the class on? So, like I said, they are on there already. The live, because we have tonight we do have print and cut. So remember, that's only once a month. So if you are enrolled in the print and cut class, today is back to the basics. If you may have forgotten, the email is going to go out, but we do have print and cut today. And I have some things to do. So right, tentatively, it is one of the classes is on Monday, and then it's Wednesday and Thursday. I may have to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm still debating on whether or not I want to do a Saturday. If I do Saturday, though, it'll pretty much be like a extra day, and it'll be like all of them like on that day versus breaking it up. And it'll be earlier on a Saturday, whereas the Monday, Wednesday, Friday ones are in the evening. And the only reason I'm changing it is because, with taking MJ to high school football games, he's wanting to go to the games. Oh, I can't do freebie Fridays. We will be at the game. I cannot do freebie Fridays tomorrow. We'll be at the Northern and Northwestern game. So what class is this? This is the pop-up effect, but it's a part of Creative Lounge. So it's not a separate class or like a new class that you're going to purchase if you are already in the Creative Lounge. So you have to join the Creative Lounge in order to get this lesson. And it will be in Silhouette Studio as well as Photoshop and Canva. Okay. You are very welcome. All right, I got to go pick up MJ and Zaniman. We have to wait 30 minutes to pick him up. But if you guys have any questions, whichever platform you are watching it on, go ahead, leave a comment. I'll respond to you. If you're watching over on Facebook, this video will self-destruct in 30 days. All right. So I look forward to seeing you guys in class. Look forward to seeing you guys tonight for the print and cut class. Until next time, have a great one, or print cut workshop. I'm sorry. Still a class though. Have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity, and always, always, always be incredible, y'all. All right. Peace.